let's say somebody's getting started in the business, and let's just say they have $40,000 to invest, and they found a deal that they can invest $40,000 into, and in 4 years from now they could realize that cash on cash return.
Hey, Tom here. So I'm catching up with Chris. Some of you guys might remember Chris was in the first mentorship, by the way, and but also Chris was actually the first person to recognize me from my YouTube channel in a Home Depot.
More inspiring than your videos is seeing you in Home Depot doing the work that it takes, and you're not just sitting behind a computer making videos and just wondering, like, is this guy really doing this stuff? Like, he's working his butt off. Like, he's out in the pouring rain, you know, and fixing stuff.
So I called Chris this morning to catch up with him. He's bought quite a bit of property in the last couple of years now.
Yeah. I bought I bought a vacant lot. I bought a lot with a mobile home on it. I bought a house. I bought another little tiny house.
Yeah, he's got a little Airbnb business going.
But now I got to actually. Now I'm on the other end, though. It's like I got to start selling some of these things, flipping them, making a profit, which they all will. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and so what he's talking about actually is to the very subject I brought up this morning, and that's sell or hold. You know, it's a question whether to sell or hold. And so I can relate to some of the things he was talking about. He was talking about not having enough time to get to, so he's got to drive a little ways to get to where he's going. He's got kids to take care of, and so you got limited time. When you burn 2 hours driving, and you're taking care of kids, and that shortens your day even more.
Yeah, and it also comes down to like what I've learned from you, Tom, is the know-how. Like, I know you know a lot about construction. I know you know a lot about electricity and plumbing and all. I know you know a lot about that, and I'm pretty sure you probably could more or less go build a house if you needed to.
I'm a builder too.
You know,
so I've done it.
Right, and so same here. I know a lot about plumbing. I know a lot about electricity. I know how to lay down floors. I know how to do drywall. It's great if you know how to do all those things, but if you but if it comes to the point where you're like, I've only got 3 hours today. Yeah. By the time you get all your tools out,
he's talking about doing it. He's talking about knowing it and doing it.
And so when I saw one of these houses, I was like, great, I'm going to get in there. I know exactly what needs to happen, and I can do it all myself. Well, the truth is, reality hits, and it's like I've got two little kids.
I have kids.
I've got 2 little kids. I got to get them to school. I got to make the lunches. I got to make dinner for the family. You know, my wife is great. She has a full-time job, and we have a great arrangement there. But she's actually, she said, hey, go chase your dreams, do real estate. Let's see what you can do on the side.
And he's doing it. So he's got a good team with his wife, for sure.
And so family comes first, though, and that's what's most important. And I got to take care of the family. So with that being said, there's things like, I've got this vacant lot that's on the market now. And kind of what we were talking about earlier was, well, if you can get to the point where you don't have a whole lot of time invested in it, but you're still using the skills of finding deals and just sitting on them for a little bit and then selling them, or getting them right away and then selling them, you can make profit that way without having to put on the tool belt, feel like you have to hire a bunch of people to come in and spend a lot of time on the deal.
Right. And so what he's saying was interesting, because basically where we got into this is, he was saying that he bought a couple of properties that are good deals, but in hindsight, he realizes he doesn't have the time to work on them that he thought he had, bottom line. And that he's probably going to sell one of these rather than fix it up and sell it like he planned. He's just going to maybe fix it up a tiny bit and just sell it right away. And what I thought of right away was, hey, this is good. And the reason it's good is, and this is why I think so, and I barely told him this already, but is when you sell something early, or you're forced to sell something that you'd rather keep, you'll find out that there's a real beneficial side in it. And that is that you flipped it, you made some money, and you didn't do anything other than buy and sell it. Right. And when you've got something you can flip quickly, you know, and still make money. It's kind of like me doing assignments, which you guys call wholesaling. I fell into that by accident. You know, it's like usually my eyes are bigger than what I can chew sometime, you know, and so when I got a building that I couldn't quite afford that I wanted to own, and I wanted my boss to buy it with me, but his idea was different than mine. His was give me 20 grand and he buys it by himself. Well, I was like flabbergasted in the moment because I thought, that's a fantastic idea. Yeah. I get 20 grand, you're going to make 70, but that's okay.
Right.
Because I'm done today. Right. And that's kind of, so like I said, so even though you might be a little disappointed that you're going to sell it, I think you're going to be quite surprised and happy that you can do deals like this.
Yeah.
Like I say, people say, you know, they talk about buying fixer-uppers, and everybody that calls me or tells me usually says they have the intention of buying a fixer-upper with the intention of fixing it up. Well, I say buy a fixer-upper below market value no matter what, not just the fix-up value, but you should be able to flip your fixer-uppers without doing a thing and still make 20% at least.
Sure.
You know? And, because, there's money there.
Well, and if you think about that, I can do that all day from my kitchen table.
Right.
I'm not having to go anywhere. I'm not having to hire people. I'm not having to figure out what are we going to do with the irrigation system? What are we going to do with this door over here in this weird hallway? Like, I list it and take my check and we're off to the next one.
Yep.
You know, and with kids and a busy lifestyle, like that's something I can do.
Right.
And I can still manage my two, 3 Airbnbs that I'm working on. But once you get a lot of those going, it's a lot of time to just even manage them, you know. And and you don't want to pay a management company; they're gonna charge you 20-30%. So anyway,
what I think happens is it's kind of a graduation in your investing, you know, skills. Anyways, in your experience, because and I'm still guilty of it myself. I love real estate. I have a passion for it. I buy it. I live and breathe it. And there's a lot of things that I buy that I'd like to hold, that I sell. But I'd like to hold them. But unfortunately, I need to sell them to get the money to buy something else. So I also like better. And the thing is, and so we got to come up with a rule on this, because it's like, I'll give you a quick examination, and I'm going to get into this in more detail in another video. But okay, I bought a building for $240,000. Now, I could have sold it for probably $400,000 or $500,000 immediately and made $250,000, right? But that investment was making me, from the day I bought it, it was making me about $60,000 a year, and in the end, it was up to $90,000 a year. But so when I'm making $60,000 a year on an investment that I paid $240,000, I don't remember, let's just say I paid $240,000 cash, I'm going to get my money back in 4 years. That's a good cash flow. That makes sense to keep. But if I threw $250,000 out there and all it was making me was $20,000 a year, you know, the payback now is 11 years. It takes a long time. And so one makes sense to hold, the other one doesn't. And like I say, if it takes, you know, I mean, if it takes more than 4 years to return your investment, to get a return equal to what your cash investment is, I say you better think about selling it, or, you know, probably sell it for sure.
And on that note, I have a question, Tom. So let's say somebody's getting started in the business, and let's just say they have $40,000 to invest, and they found a deal that they can invest $40,000 into, and in 4 years from now they could realize that cash on cash return. In my mind, I'd almost say, don't do it.
Oh, hell no. That's immediately my answer.
You have such a small pile of cash. You need to go flip that multiple times until you get to that 240 or whatever number.
I don't.
What kind of threshold would you say?
I don't think you can afford to be a hold person, a hold investor, until you have really at least $1 million. To be honest.
Right.
I mean, otherwise, now there's some. I got to qualify some of that, because sometimes it's very difficult not to be a hold person if you got to give up 40% of what you just made, whatever
Right.
in taxes. Now, but after a year, it's a little less than that. It's about half that. And the lower your income, it's closer to half that is. But again, you can't even afford to hold what you have for a 20% annual return. Not when you're not with less than $1 million. You can't do it.
Right.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah. Like it sounds it sounds nice to be able to be in a position, and I'm sure it is nice to be in a position where, like, you know what? Yeah, this is going to give me a great return every year. It's going to appreciate, and maybe I'll sell in 4 or 5 years once I get all my cash back and even realize a profit on top of that. But for guys like me, where I'm playing with the $30, $40, $50, $60,000 investment, somebody approached me the other day, kind of, they were wanting to partner on a deal, and they said, hey, I'll put in this much, you put in this much, we could buy this house together, blah, 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 blah. And I know, and I've heard your good advice on partnerships.
Yeah, I don't like giving away half the money.
but he great guy, and he said, we could do this, and I was looking at the numbers, and I was like, so I'm putting in 40,000, but I'm not going to see my cash for another 4.5 years.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like,
and what's the return on it though?
The return would be, so I'd put in 40,000, I'd get my 40,000 back in 4 years, and then once we sell, I would get maybe another 20.
Yeah, horrible.
And I'm just like, I'm sitting there at the table looking at numbers. I'm like, I think I can do a lot better just flipping one property after another.
See, he can double his 40 grand at least every year. And it's easier to double investments that are under 100 grand in my experience. I mean, I used to buy $10,000 deals and sell them for 30, $10,000 deals and sell them for 20, and I mean, like tens, like maybe 50 to 60 deals like that,
right?
And even some better ones. I've taken 30 and gotten 160 grand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is a lot of land dealing I used to do,
right.
And land's an awesome. And he's got a deal like that. He's got something he bought for 20 that he may have sold for 60, 70,000.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of dealing you can do on land. But again, if you can operate with your own money or you can operate with borrowed money, that's why people say, Tom, I got a hard money lender, he wants 10%. I said, well, take it. I mean, 10% is nothing. It's a lot cheaper than 50%, which is what you're going to have to pay a partner that puts up the money. So
yeah. But I think it's just good for people out there that watch your channel a lot, because I watch your channel, and we live in the same area, and sometimes, like, I got to pick my jaw up off the ground, and I'm like, man, he's just killing it.
Yeah.
But you've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
And so I just say to myself, look, I just started, and I can.
And you're already on your way,
and I can be there.
Yeah, exactly.
I just got to follow the path, and your book lays that out. Your mentorship lays it out, and so I mean, that's a shameless plug.
Yeah.
He didn't even tell me to do that, but really, I on my way here this morning, I was like, you know what? All I can say when I show up to Tom is thank you. It's like thanks for showing the way, and it's more than just the method, because a lot of people know about the method. Different people teach it different ways. Yeah. It's more than just the method. It's the reality of all these little nuggets you place along the way.
Yeah, there's so much in between all that.
that whether it's through the videos, it's the class, it's the book. There's so many nuggets that, like I said at the table, and I'm looking at the numbers, and because of what you've taught me, I was wise to say, I got to think about this. Yeah. And after thinking about it, I was like, it's not a good deal.
Yeah. And so, like, he knows that it's not a good deal. Sometimes it's nice to have somebody reaffirm that you're right. Yeah. It's a huge thing, right? You know, I mean, and you can get those kind of reassurances too, just by studying in general, just watching, a lot of people that you respect and that sort of thing.
Or text Tom and be like, hey, I got this. And he says, no bueno. No.
Sometimes that happens, but sometimes it's like what he just said. He's like, I'm not sure if this is a good deal or not. And it's like, oh yeah, 100%, that's a terrible deal. Right. Just like he suspected. And it's good to be, I play devil's advocate with people on different deals for myself. And I say, just pick it apart, shoot it down. And I like people to be extremely harsh on whatever I'm trying to sell. Or, as being a good idea that I'm buying and that sort of thing. And it's just a good exercise. You can't be too thin-skinned, but the bottom line is if somebody can beat you up and basically tear you up in a debate on whether you should have a property or not, then chances are it's a bad deal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of the skills, you can get the same skills if you're starting out. You can get the same skills from going to a garage sale. You can get the same skills from shopping on eBay.
Yeah.
You can get the same skills for being on Craigslist.
Sales are sales.
And it's just you learn the pattern of what's a good deal and what's not a good deal. And that, again, it's just reassurance for anybody that's watching. If you got $100 to your name that you'd be willing to go find a good deal with, it's there to be had.
Yeah.
And it's slow and steady. And sometimes you hit the honey hole, the sweet spot, and you get the perfect deal.
Yeah.
Other times, you're kind of hustling and you're getting deal after deal after deal, and it adds up to where you can someday I'm going to buy that $240,000 retail or warehouse or whatever,
and you're gonna. He's for sure. He's on track. That's the thing. Chris is on track for success, and he's doing well already. And like I said, sometimes it seems like you're very far away from making a lot of money, but it's not true. When you take 10 and turn it into 20, and 20 into 40, and then 40 into 100, and then all of a sudden you're starting to go, wow, listen, this just happened in a year. Mm-hmm. And you realize I can do this. I can make $1 million easily in a year. And it can happen. And it can even be more than that. And that's the beauty of real estate. You just don't know. You're looking, you will find good deals, and some will be home runs. Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to give Chris a tour of the place, and maybe we'll make another video from that. But this, we ended up having a longer conversation here than I expected.
That's good.
It was very nice.
It's good.
All right, man. So, hey, be sure to share. Be sure to hit subscribe. Hit that like button. Just takes a second. Helps the channel a lot. I'd appreciate it. And thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
We'll see ya.